Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. So Mr. Z is going to freestyle a bit, a lot. We're also going to um we're also going to make reference to what I posted in my community tab, I think last night, if not during the day. Was it yesterday or was it further on in the night? Can't recall. But yeah, so I'm gonna post that. I'm gonna put that in the description box. I did not do that earlier. My apologies. Because if I'm making reference to it, I want y'all to know what I'm talking about. But I might still do a standalone video on that. Anyway, right? So let's just say Mr. Z, Dr. Thunder, and the ilk, the Black Manosphere, we've been vindicated. These people are saying that we are correct in only so many words, right? So what is he saying? Let's start off with what I posted in my community tab, essentially about how white empire is using black women as something to hide behind because of where black women were put by white women, right? So, in other words, if intersectionality is a thing, then if in America we show that black women are who are supposed to be, because black women are supposed to be the most put upon because they're black and they're women, right? They're on the bottom of the hierarchy. If you show successful black women, if you show black women advocating for empire, ooh, goddamn, caping for empire, yikes, being the tool of empire and being included in this white neocolonial ethno-state project and being enthusiastic about it, then that allows for America to play a different type of game internationally and domestically. Because what it says is we have we have overcome our propensity, and I say our because the US, right, but not our as in black people. We have overcome our propensity to step on, to oppress, to marginalize, discriminate against, delete, right? People of color, black people specifically, black women even more specifically. And the scholar, black woman, who covers this, that's essentially what she was saying. Now, if we go into the Wayback Machine, we will remember that Mr. Z covered this and said this about black women some 3-ish years ago, right? Some 3-ish years ago. You will remember that Mr. Z implied this and suggested this about around the same time 3-ish years ago when we were speaking about how the Kim Foster and the ilk are not only a colonizing agent, but are the class enemy of the masses of black women, right? If y'all remember, huh? Y'all will remember Mr. Z about 4 and 5 years ago making reference to the miseducation of a Negro and tying that to black women being the most college enrolled and most college educated in the black community. And what does that mean? And Mr. Z making the correlation between institutionalized and, well, institutionalized. See what you're saying? When we say institutionalized, we are referring to usually men, black men who have been incarcerated. We don't think of college and university as institutions until we say prestigious institutions. And what does it mean that we have a community full of college educated black women who brag about, wait a minute, the colleges and universities they attended? And is that a backwards roundabout way of them bragging about being, say it Z, institutionalized? Do y'all now understand why Mr. Z used to make reference to the miseducation of a Negro? Shout out to the Roger Report and shout out to Rael. They might remember. Huh? Hey, From Africa I Came. That's what the lady was saying. And From Africa I Came to Z. Once again, I'm gonna tell you to read the academic literature on this stuff. Search up counterinsurgency and specifically liberal counterinsurgency. That's what the lady was saying. The professor, her name is slipping me right now. My apologies to her. That's why I'm just gonna say the PhD. The PhD sister. That's what she was saying. Black women are being placed in essentially being counterinsurgents for the black community writ large. Uh-oh. I said it. Huh? This is what Mr. Z has been saying for years. That this black man, black woman thing, this issue that black men and black women are having in intimate black relationships is way bigger and way more important than just a black man not getting his peen wet. This is way more than that. Huh? And if you listen to Cynthia G talk. Mr. Z know what he was saying when I said neo-Nazi. Listen to Chrissy talk. Mr. Z knows what he says. Oh, you just want to be an upper middle class or rich white woman. Listen, my apologies, y'all almost pressed the wrong thing. Listen to Real Talk with Yenny talk. Listen to Kim Foster talk. Huh? Kim Foster, who thinks she's the next Oprah. Huh? When Real Talk with Yenny says, I don't give a F. Ain't nobody gonna make me give a F. Listen to her. She ain't talking to white society. She's talking to black people. She's talking to black men. Huh? Thank you, Saint Cyr. When Cynthia G talking about deleting unborn black male fetuses, that's eugenics. Y'all are the colonizing. It's crazy work to hear black women rail on about these sellout black men. What you think you are? When you listen to Candace Owens talk, goddamn, for those of us that remember the interview years and years and years ago with Tariq Nasheed and Kim Klacik, what you think you are? When you listen to Amala Ekpugnobi and she put out these videos, there's like 2 or 3 of them, of black women complaining so that Amala could justify her white male peen chase. What you think you are? Huh? So, shout out to the brother Obsidian. As he said before, we state what we state and we wait for the facts to catch up. And now you have a PhD black woman, huh? Progressive, might I add, who's essentially saying, yeah, black women, we might be being positioned to be the counterinsurgents and kind of put a kibosh and quash the kind of revolutionary spirit of black people because, you know, they have correctly identified that if they politicize us and use intersectionality to say we're the most marginalized and then elevate us, or at least optics, right? Elevate our image. We're talking about black women. Then they could then come behind and say, by the way, see, we can't be that racist. We can't be that colonizing. Look, black women successful. Condoleezza Rice, Susan Rice, Michelle Obama, Oprah, Beyonce. Huh? Yeah, From Africa I Came. She literally used the word counterinsurgency. Yes. By the way, for those of you that don't know what I'm referencing, it's the last post I have in my community tab. I will be putting it in the description box for this stream after the fact. My apologies, I did not put it before. Huh? And From Africa I Came says, oh, so she actually used counterinsurgency? Gonna have to watch all of it. Yeah. Huh? For those of you that remember, shout out to those of you who remember. It's in my videos now, actually. I covered the Goldman Sachs $10 billion thing years ago, and I said it. I showed, was it Malaysia, that Goldman Sachs was implicated in some type of scheme and like helping people hide money or something like that, some type of scheme. And Goldman Sachs was really good at not being charged with any type of crime from the federal government. They've been doing shady stuff forever, and they've never been pinned. For over a century, they've never been pinned. But finally, the U.S. government was going to catch them up on this thing. I think it was Malaysia. And this is around the time when they're like, oh, we're going to give $10 billion to black women for black women issues. They're hiding behind black women. What is Mr. Z saying? Racist white society, whether that's the politicians, the bankers, whoever, were hiding behind woke talk. Huh? Shout out to all you conservatives that don't get it yet. They were hiding behind woke talk. They were hiding behind black women. Ooh, goddamn. And it would benefit a handful of black women, and the masses of black women would get nothing but, you know, an ego boost. That's it. Huh? Nothing but an ego boost. Ooh, look, we can make it. Look, Condoleezza's up there. Huh? What's the LGBTQ sister? Lena Waithe? Look, Lena, she's doing okay. Look, she's doing really good. Look at Issa Rae. Huh? You see how underhanded these folks are, whether it's Nixon and sell them on capitalism and positive stories, whether it's using black folks, black women as counterinsurgents. Huh? You see how sneakily these people move? This is what Z was saying. And then you have black women begging to be represented in mass media as white men's love interests. Ooh, goddamn, Z, you wasn't supposed to bring that up. Hey, man, y'all can frame it however y'all want to frame it. We know what it is. Y'all can frame it however. And shout out to that young lady. It's the first link in my description box. Shout out to that young lady. And to be frank with you, she is correct about the throwaway black girlfriend trope, but it's really the throwaway black trope. And someone in her comments actually said it. Once again, the link is in my description. Someone in her comments actually said it. The kind of throwaway black girlfriend trope reminds me of the black guy that's the first one to die in, you know, any type of action film or you know, any one of these horror films. The black guy's the first guy to die. But yeah, so dear black women, you're the side character. What they're saying is black women have been begging us to be part of the story, and so we'll make them part of the story as a throwaway. So now we won't just completely ignore them. We'll say, yes, stepping stone Stacy. That's what black women are. You get your rocks off, you lose your virginity, your first quote unquote real relationship is with a black woman, and she's stepping stone Stacy. And then y'all break up and you graduate into now being with, ooh, goddamn Z, a white woman. As you should be as a white man. Ooh. Mr. Z been said, what did Mr. Z say? Mr. Z, is your whole stream going to be like, what did Mr. Z say? Yeah, kind of, maybe today. Yeah, maybe. Huh? Everybody in America is having triple X fun with everyone in America. It's when it's time to get married. Once we start creeping past that mid-20s, it's time to start getting a bit more serious. That's when people of color start getting their feelings hurt. Black people, black women really start getting their feelings hurt. Huh? Somebody tells you he's lying. Somebody tells you he's lying. Somebody tells you he's lying. That's when black women, as particular, start getting their feelings hurt. Huh? This is why Kevin Samuel said we count wedding rings over here. Don't tell us about some white guy you used to date when you were 22, or some white guy you used to date when you were even maybe 27, or some Latino, or I was engaged to Mario. Nope, yawn. Where's the wedding ring? And even with that, to be honest with you, Mr. Z want to add to that and say we don't count it unless it's at least 10 years of marriage. I saw it. And Saint Cyr says, Z, Medium Man dropped a video debunking the black woman white man divorce stats are the lowest. Medium man was on was on that. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. He's frustrated. He was on there cussing. Yeah, I saw that. Because you once again, this goes back to once again, this is my community tab. What the PhD sister was saying. This is their appetite. This is about women's appetite, black women's appetite to be included. They don't care how bad it is. They don't care if they're being used as a colonizing agent. They don't care even if it's going to hurt the masses of black women. They don't even care if it's going to hurt them in the long run. Ooh, goddamn, so you was not supposed to say that out loud. Huh? For those of us that remember, it's somewhere in Zoe's videos. I'm actually probably going to link it. The heavyset dark skinned sister that used to be on Zoe Williams' show, Tone Talks, was on there one time, and they were talking and they were talking about the poverty and struggle in black people, and she said something like, for one time, I just want to know what it's like. I just essentially she wants to date a man where she's not the primary, financial. She's not the person funding the relationship. She's not the primary breadwinner type talk. And you could see Tone trying his hardest to say, but have you looked in the mirror? That's about as best as you could get. You could tell he wasn't trying to say it, but he was saying it. And when she realized that's what he was saying, oh, she flipped. But her message still resonates. It's for once I just want to be kept. And it doesn't have to last forever. I just want to have that experience for once and be a kept woman. And Mr. Z could sympathize with that. I'm sure all women damn near want to be that at least once in their life. Let's be clear, they want to be that throughout their life. Huh? What she was expressing there is a sentiment that black women, if you let them talk long enough, they will express. I just want to know what it's like to be a kept woman for once in my life. But y'all fought for equality. Ooh, yikes. But y'all fought for equality. Huh? Ah. Huh? Then you got, what's her name, Wednesday or whatever. It was was it that same stream, but later on it was another stream where Tone was talking to her and she was like, until I hit 1 million, I don't want to have no kids. Hey, I hear y'all ladies. That sound nice. Huh? So now you see why, and I watched a bit of that interview with Shay, not Shay Shadi, but what's the brother name in Young Miami, right? Shannon Sharp. I want to say Shay. Shannon Sharp. I watched the interview with Shannon Sharp and Young Miami. I watched a bit of it. Once again, y'all dudes over here spending how many thousands of dollars for Young Miami? You know what? I live in South Florida. Let me stop because she can reach out and touch somebody, right? You want to know why these women sound like that? They're the colonizing agents. It's counterinsurgency. They became the white women, at least politically and socially, not economically, and not socially either. Oh goddamn. Aspirationally, that's the word. They became the white women aspirationally that they always wanted to be. Wait, Z, so you're saying aspiration and aspiration in a weird way? I know. Revlon, I ain't even gonna read it out loud. That's hysterical. Huh? But Revlon, if your goal is to be kept and you are dealing with a brother that, for many of us, the reason why we're not surprised is because we've been hearing about this brother and what he was on in the music industry for decades. So this is nothing new to us. If you said screw it, there's a put it there. If you said screw it, it's lifestyle or nothing, then of course you're okay with that type of activity. Huh? At least she own it. Of course you're okay with that type of activity. If you said, hey, I've gotten to smell this, I've gotten to experience it a bit, but if that's how the guys at the very tippy top are getting down, I want that. And I'm okay with what comes from the other side of that. I'm okay with being degraded. I'm okay with being used as a toilet, quite literally. Huh? Hey, how Obsidian said? He didn't say negotiation. Something something is no highway robbery. What? How does he say it? Somebody gonna say it in the comments, please and thank you. Shout out to the brother Obsidian. Right? It's not compromise. It's not negotiation. He says it a different way. He said it's no highway robbery. Oh, I can't remember the phrase, but he's right. Right? Paspero G. If I hear that pun the way I thought I did, or that double entendre, I ain't even gonna read that one out loud neither. Right? There we go. Thank you, Harambe. Fair exchange is no highway robbery. Thank you, Harambe. That's exactly, yes. Fair exchange. Yeah, fair exchange. Yeah, thank you, Darren Jones. Fair exchange is no highway robbery. Yes. Yeah. So, hey, if the lady said I'm down with it, if I get to be kept by you for 6 months, 9 months, a year, 2 years, we go ahead and sign this contract, and you gonna slide me two, $300,000, $400,000 for my companionship for the next however long, for 5 years, $500,000, whatever it is. I'm down. If the ladies say yes and the men say yes, who is Z to say no? Huh? Is it discussing the Z? Yes. But if the ladies say yes, who is Z to say no? Huh? So if Young Miami is okay with being a literal toilet from certain brothers that at least used to be in the music industry, we don't know what his future look like now. If she okay with being a toilet because she got to live that life, then so be it. Huh? Now, transitioning. This conversation with Scott Galloway and this young lady, as a matter of fact, y'all gives you a second because I want to actually say her have her name correct. Y'all gives you a second. Okay, my apologies. Logan, right? So yes, Dr. Scott Galloway and this young lady Logan, and she's a matchmaker, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and she kind of does this type of research. Also, what I appreciated, because I was like, Mr. Galloway, you just gonna let her just get away with this? You know what women are looking for, this emotionally intelligent, because if you're not coming with the resources, and it's the same thing that certain black women try to pull. And what I appreciate about Mr. Galloway is he waited towards the end. He let her go on, and he somewhat agreed with her, and he let her go on. And then him and the host, the CEO brother out of the UK, the one that we be making fun of sometimes, and say he looked like Drake, but he really don't look like Drake. But still, they waited and they waited and they got her. They got her ass towards the end, and they showed, and you could feel the energy. You could feel it was very visceral. That's the word I'm looking for. The Because for women, yes, in this modern society, women got to have their money together. Yes, yes, white capitalists demand it. You got to have your money. Yes, but it pales into, you're not judged by your money or lack thereof. That's the difference. Looks or no looks. Ooh, somebody tells you he's lying. You're not judged off of it. Your humanity isn't based off of it. And what Mr. Z appreciates about Dr. Scott Galloway is you could see how he was describing how visceral it is for men. And it's not a figment of our imagination. That's what I appreciate about what he was saying. It's not a figment of the men's imagination, and it's not just men holding them to that standard, which is something he expressed on that interview at least 2, 3 times. It's not just men, and it's not a figment of their imagination. No, the women are saying economically viable men is the most important. And this is the threat that Mr. Z has been levying for a while. Shout out to, well, let me pat myself on the back. Um, what Dr. Scott Galloway was getting to is that it's getting worse, and that what capitalism has done, and this is the lefty in him, and Mr. Z agrees, but this is the lefty in me. What capitalism has done is it's crowded out all that other stuff we tell men to make up for. Oh, well, if you can't come with the money, be charismatic. Or if you can't come with the money, you got to be emotionally intelligent. If you can't come with the money, you got to be physically appealing. The women kind of really mean that physically appealing part. Less so than they emphasize, but it matters. What Dr. Scott Galloway was saying is that's all BS. Look, bro, if you come with the money, you could be a complete a-hole, and she'll go. Uh-oh. And guess what? That lady did not push back because she know it's true. Ooh, goddamn. Huh? Ah. Huh? Miss Logan did not push back on that because she know it's true. What did he say? You got $10 million off of Doge, and she'll go. And what Dr. Scott Galloway was emphasizing is, I think he said he had a principal who dressed nice and had a 240Z, and he was charismatic and whatever. And so he was able to make up. You know, if you're a principal, you might be doing pretty well financially, especially back in probably the 70s when Dr. Scott Galloway was in school or whatever, and or maybe the early 80s. And what he was emphasizing there was, at one point, yeah, you could make up as a man with a lack of resources, with charisma, and you still had to be some type of successful, but you didn't have to have the money. Now, if you don't have the money, you might be able to slip in the door and maybe be able to pipe with the physicality. But outside of that, yeah, all that other stuff is out the window. Huh? All that other stuff is out the window. That's a bunch of, Lindsay said, I don't care how offensive I am. I am being purposely antagonistic. Yo, y'all liberal white feminists need to shut the hell up. And you black ones and you Latinas and Asians, shut up. But definitely you white ones, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to the relationship. You know what you are? You're a saboteur. Huh? That's why Mr. Z said, all that crap sound nice. When we put the microphone in front of everyday women's faces, they not talking about none of this stuff you talking about. Huh? Did you hear that, Leisha Miller? Shut up. When we put the microphone in front of average women, especially average black women's face, are they emotionally intelligent? Yeah, they might say that stuff in the beginning. When you put them back to the wall, yeah, it boils down to the money first and foremost. Huh? Thank you. From Africa came ages like a mug. White women are nothing but agents, especially them feminists. And they're black apparatchiks in the black community. Goddamn. In the way, on purpose. Huh? Mr. Z is not saying which should or shouldn't be. Actually, kind of am. But this is what it is. When you put the microphone in front of all these women, they're not talking about emotionally intelligent. Huh? You have a certain subsect of women that talk that crap until you say, oh yeah, so he has this and he's emotionally intelligent and he's charismatic, he has all, but he only earns $45,000 a year. And maybe the woman that earn 50, maybe she'll bite. But all of those women up there at 150 and 200 and 250, they're not going. And we all know they're not going. No matter how open she is, how quote unquote liberal she is. Because y'all didn't tell the women what actually comes with equality. Did you hear that, Alvin? Equality doesn't necessarily mean you're here making 250 and your man is making 250 plus 300. Let's be honest, half a mil. Let's be honest, $1 million. That's not what it means on a societal level. You're earning 250, he's earning 45. Being a teacher, that's his passion. Ooh, goddamn. That's what that means. Ooh. And you don't resent him for it either. Ooh. He works at an at-risk youth facility, right? Or he works with the disabled, earning $50,000 a year, but that's his passion. And you earn the 250 or 300. That's what that means. And as Anne Marie Slaughter said, and as Scott Galloway said, yeah, that's what women say about that. See, I thought I meant that in theory. I mean, like in theory, yes, but yeah, exactly. I'm so glad he waited and he waited and he let Miss Logan go on, and then he got her ass at the end. All that stuff sound nice. Weirdo leftist feminists with all this crap until we drop that man you're describing in front of you and you be like, exactly. Huh? Sound nice. And what Dr. Scott Galloway kept on emphasizing is what his theory of Portia polygamy. Portia polygamy. The guys at the top are getting everything. That's why Mr. Z said to Jason Black, "Oh, y'all can have all of them." Shout out to that brother from the Little P Show. I'll have to link it. It's gonna go in the description box also. When we were covering last year, the young lady that said, "If you earn $50,000 and that's a year, then you shouldn't date. You shouldn't date." Okay, fine. And as that brother said, okay, fine. All you women should go to the elite men, and the rest of us will save our little 200 throughout the month, and we'll go, pay for something later on in the month. Huh? Mr. Z, no, this is not sustainable. That's why I put that thread out there. Ooh, goddamn. Huh? Y'all better be lucky these young men have corn and video games, because if this was another era and y'all was on this, your heads and your shoulders would be on the other side of a blade. Two different sides of a blade. Somebody tell Z he's lying. Huh? The women said you're either elite or invisible, and the men said, I bet. That's why they're not showing up to these mixers. That's why they're not showing up to these speed dating events. That's why they're not showing up to these matchmaking events. That's why they're not going out. I think Passport OG showed it again. Thank you, Passport OG, who showed it again. I think she was a Latina, and she was at a restaurant, and she's filming all around the restaurant, and it's nothing but women at the restaurant. All the tables full of women that are on essentially girl dates with other women. Huh? No man in sight. Exactly. No couples is what she was trying to emphasize. There's no couples. It's all women out. Exactly. I've been actually looking for that video for a little while, Passport OG. Right? Exactly. The men believe you. Now what? Ooh, goddamn. As Mr. Z said, y'all can have all of them. And Mr. Z's in a relationship. Mr. Z knows this is not sustainable. So let me get this right. The women are going to chase after 5 and 10%. They'll settle for the top 20%. The top third of men can maybe have oops babies. And the bottom, 2/3 of men? Well, getting what you fit in. Huh? Maybe after Amy that had 1 or 2 kids with her ideal man, or after she done come off the carousel and she's looking to settle, maybe you'll get lucky to sniff around the vagina. Y'all think that's sustainable? Okay. Huh? Thank you, Telescope. And Telescope says men aren't doing all of that for a bunch of chicks trying to stun on each other. And to be frank, this economy just doesn't allow for it. This economy just doesn't allow for it. What Mr. Z is posing here, or positing, wrong word, let's say it again. What Mr. Z is positing here is that our society didn't actually talk to women about what equality actually looks like on a societal level. It's not the men. Stop it with this emotionally intelligent stuff, especially concerning black men. Maybe the white guys and the Latinos and the Asian guys have something else going on, but for the black men, it's not a lack of emotional intelligence. It's not that they're not taking showers every day. Cut that out. I don't know about the white dudes and the Latinos and the Asian guys, but for the black men, it's not that they're not taking showers every day. It's definitely not that they lack charisma or they're quote unquote socially awkward. That's not it, especially for black men. Stop it. It's simply that y'all didn't actually tell the women, by the way, just because you're college educated does not mean you're going to end up with a college educated man. Right? And even the Logan, the lady had to say, when she talks to these women, she has to tell them to expand their height filter, because when they say 6 feet and above, that's 14% of American men. 14% of American men are 6 feet and above. What Dr. Scott Galloway said, when you put 6 feet and above and $100,000 a year or more, that's 2.2% of men. If I heard her correctly, that's what Dr. Scott Galloway said. 2.2%, and then you wonder why these women are so goddamn miserable. Huh? You wondering why she ends up with a great guy and yet she still think like she's settled. She still feel like she's settled. And then you wonder why that 2.2% or maybe even that 14% is so spoiled for choice. Huh? Is so spoiled for choice. Oh, they have analysis paralysis and they don't know how to choose. No, like they would say, why? And like Dr. Scott Galloway was saying, why would I settle? All in their 30s, in their 40s, maybe even 50s. Why would I settle? I'm gonna keep running through y'all. Huh? You know why the women feel like that? Because they feel like those guys are cheating. Eventually, those guys are supposed to settle. Nope. You know what those dudes are gonna do? They're gonna George Clooney all of y'all. They're gonna keep on piping and having fun until they're like 48, maybe 52, and then finally settle for one and probably still be quote unquote, I'm not even going to use that word, exercising their options while they're married. Oh goddamn. Huh? Huh? Big Mo says they be wanting 200K and up, limiting themselves to like 0.5% of men. What I also appreciate about Dr. Scott Galloway, and everybody's afraid to mention the race element of this. Shout out to Dr. Green Gorilla and Dr. T. Hassan Johnson, Dr. Thunder, BGS, Mr. Z. Nobody want to mention the race element of it all. Dr. Scott Galloway said it's only getting worse. The elite men are hoarding that's why I brought up Dr. Richard Reeves before y'all even knew of Boys and Men, before there was a Boys and Men book. Mr. Z kept on bringing up Dr. Richard Reeves because of his book before that, Dream Hoarders, where he was emphasizing that the top 20% of Americans are hoarding everything. And what Mr. Z easily put two and two together, it was like, oh, they're hoarding all the opportunities, the dreams, the access to really good public schools for their children. Huh? They're trying to coordinate, they're trying to ward it off everything with certain programs that benefit the top 20%. What's the one that they put the college loan money or the college money for their children, and it builds interest like crazy? And that's mainly the top 20% that engage in that. Right? What Mr. Z was able to do and put two and two together is like, well, if the top 20% is hoarding everything, are they also hoarding the top 20% of men? Are they also hoarding the women? At that time, you couldn't say that. And that was all of 5, maybe 6 years ago. Now, you're starting to see people like Dr. Scott Galloway and Dr. Richard Reeves admit that. Huh? That's number one. Huh? Number two is, what's the outcome of that? They also emphasize that, and this is, I appreciate Dr. Scott Galloway for this also. If you're in the top 10%, you're going to get all of it. You're going to be able, more than likely, to live in the right neighborhood, to put your kids in the right schools. Your kids are going to meet other kids who are going to be connected. who are going to help them in their future. This is when nepotism come in with their career, with their access to other good opportunities around social circles, all of that. Maybe meet their future spouse, etc., etc. That next 10%, so we're talking about the rest of that top 20, similar but on a lesser level. The bottom 75, 80%, well, good luck. You think y'all can sustain a society like that? Maybe in the past, when China wasn't nipping at your heels, China's ahead of you in so many ways. Oops. Maybe. But now? You think you could maintain that now? And this is what I was saying. I know it sounds yitchy. I know it sounds yitchy. This is what Mr. Z was saying to Jason Black before. This is not sustainable. You're going to have to socialize the women different. Z, we can't override their biology. To hell, we can't. You better. Unless you want all of this come crashing down, you better. And by the way, we've been overriding people's biology for thousands of years. Stop it. We can override their biology, Z. Yes, we can. And I don't care how yitchy it sounds. You're going to have to socialize the women different if you want this quote unquote real equality. Y'all don't really want it. Huh? The pyramid is levitating above the ground. The production, the productivity in America has increased, etc., etc. The women are going to have to be okay with being with average men financially. Anything less than that, your population is going to continue to go to the crapper. Your marriage rate is going to continue to go to the crapper. And every day you wake up, you're risking INCELS driving through a goddamn crowd or airing a mall out. Somebody tells you he lying. Every day you wake up, if you don't fix this, you're risking the overturning of your society by a bunch of angry INCELSs. And by the way, I see them white guys trying to distance themselves and say, well, when you look disproportionately, it's men of color. I see y'all. I knew y'all was selling out. I knew it was going to come to this eventually. Uh-oh. I knew them white guys wasn't about it. Huh? Y'all think y'all see a light at the end of the tunnel. Y'all starting to see the videos from women starting to crack, and y'all already trying to throw black men under the bus. Y'all already trying to throw other men of color under the bus. By the way, FD, to be fair to FD, he saw this coming too. That's what he was trying to say earlier when he popped up on my stream. Last stream, I think it was, or was it BGS's stream? It was one of it, or was it Bernard Riley? It was one of the streams where he tried to allude to it a bit. I see what you were saying. Yeah, them white guys, they wanted to make men of color the face of this, and they will go right in behind. You know what? They're trying to do the same thing the white feminists did with black women. That's why Mr. Z, shout out to the Raj Report. That's why the Raj Report made sure to distance ourselves anyway. And by the way, that there's two that could tango on that one. Dear white guys, we're going to make sure to let everybody know you're the ones who really want to step on everybody's head. This has nothing to do with equality. This has to do with white male patriarchy. And y'all trying to ride in on the wave of actual oppression on black men mainly. And then reinstitute your same hierarchical ways. Screw what you talking about. Mr. Z, you just ranted. Mr. Z making perfect sense if you listening. Huh? Ah. So what Mrs. Z appreciates about Dr. Scott Galloway is the emphasis on this whole thing needs to be revamped. And it's not just a lack of emotional intelligence, and it's not just the fact that these men are not they're enjoying living on their mom's couch playing video games and not taking showers. Maybe for the young white dudes, but for black men writ large who never really got to enjoy no type of patriarchal nothing, this is not a thing. It's simply not a thing. what y'all have to appreciate is that what feminism and capitalism creates is this. This is why Mr. Z continues to reference Dr. Green Gorilla's stream that he did, what, going on 2 years now? Where he spoke about the intersection of feminism and capitalism, especially neoliberal capitalism, and what it's going to do to families in America. What families in America? Exactly. Because the women are not coming off of their requirements for the breadwinner. Their financial requirements for the breadwinner. And Mr. Z did not forget his point about race. I'm going to get back to it. What feminism plus capitalism, neoliberal capitalism, does is it hoards everything at the top of the hierarchy. Everything. So who becomes the ideal man? Who was already the ideal man? Goddamn, Z, you see how we got back to race? The rich white elite man only strengthens his position in the minds and the imaginations of women writ large. That would include women of color. Guess what? Goddamn, Z, you're about to say that would include black women. Now, do y'all appreciate the weirdo black women who sound like racist white women, because they're racist white women, chocolate dips, who sound like racist white women who say, and the Jeannie Myers before Jeezy, ooh, goddamn, Z, you about to say it, right? White men for the main course, black men for the side. Ooh, 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 you thought it was just Jeannie Myers who thought that? You think it's just white women who think like that? Ooh, goddamn. What black women are telling you more and more is they believe that too. Ooh. Huh? Ooh, it ain't looking good. Huh? Nobody wants to touch the racial element of it all. And shout out to Maggie. Maggie, I saw that interview you did with Nameless. Great interview. Great interview. And I agree with you about white men being the pinnacle, and essentially everybody's trying to do that as salvation, minus most black men. Everybody else, for the most part, yes. I think because black men are so far from it, we ain't trying to go after it. I think after black men stopped conking their hair, for those of you that don't know what that means, just relaxer, perms, straining, right? After that era was done, black men were done with it. That was it, right? There's an argument to be made. Even during that era, black men weren't trying to do it. But everybody else, essentially, being a well-off white man is the pinnacle, right? Oh, man. So if you add what Dr. Scott Galloway is saying, with Dr. Richard Reeves' Dream Hoarders, the ideal man is the 6'2", 6'5", 6'2" tall, good-looking, chisel chin, exec white man, the executive white man in the corner office. Okay, cool. That Mr. Z, you ain't saying nothing new. That's been the ideal man for maybe a couple centuries now. True, but it's become even more emphasized. That's what Dr. Scott Galloway was trying to say. At one point, you could have been charismatic as a black man or Latino guy or Asian guy, and you could have worked around this ideal, right? And there were more women that were open to different men and how they show up, and that money was important. It has been important, but it wasn't so emphasized. Huh? Now it's so much more emphasized. I also wanted to make comments on, or give comments on, I don't know why I said make comments on, give comments on the risk aversion that Miss Logan and Dr. Scott Galloway were speaking about. Yes, The risk aversion is because the way the system is currently being constructed is that you damn there have to be perfect. That's why you see those kids, as Logan was saying. I think it was Logan who was saying, or was it Dr. Scott Galloway? One of them was saying, they know this professor, and at one point in between classes, they would play solitaire, or they would catch up on their reading, and now they don't have the time to, because the students are just coming into class. I need to know exactly what's going to be on the test so I can study, and it's showing a lack of risk aversion, or showing risk aversion, a lack of, they don't want to take risk. Yeah, because they've watched other people crash and burn and not be able to get up. Y'all the ones who said y'all wanted hyper competition, huh? Y'all wanted that competition, you got it. And the kids watch that, and they watch the people, the masses of people, not just the one or two Elons, or not really even Elon, Mark Zuckerberg's, not even Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, and there you go. Not the Jeff Bezos who might have stumbled here, or the Steve Jobs who was CEO and then he wasn't CEO and then he was CEO again. Not them. The everybody else who stumbled one time and that train rolled right over their ass. That's the fear. That's the fear. It's crazy when a system, a people, a society socializes, teaches, and raises the children a certain way, and then wonders why the children act the way they do when they become adults. When those children become adults, why are they so scared? Why are they so risk averse? I don't know, because y'all showed them what taking risks look like. Huh? Yes, if you take a risk and you win, you're going to win spectacularly in America. This is the beauty of capitalism. If you gamble that money in the stock market and you hit, oh, beautiful. Huh? If you win, oh, you really win. This is also what Dr. Scott Galloway was getting at too. And you can see it bothers him. As a person who's winning, as a rich white man, it still bothers him. You have to have a systemic analysis for you to understand, even when you're winning, be like, yeah, I'm winning right now, but goddamn, there's going to be another side of this. The children who are now adults, young adults, middle-aged adults, they watch their family lose homes in '08 housing recession. They see what COVID-19 did to them and their older cousins, their older siblings, their parents. They're risk averse because of you. Not you, Dr. Scott Galloway, not you, Logan, but I'm saying the system. Huh? That's why. The risk aversion comes from the cost. Perfect example. Now everyone's on the other side of me too. Everybody's acting like they don't get it. Now you're like, what? These young men are not approaching. They're not even approaching the women. They're not, and the these women, and they did get on the women who say men are not approaching them, and then when men do approach them, they bash the men, the women who are recording themselves at the gym, essentially enticing men to say something to them, and then when the men say something, then they go on social media and blast these men. There's a cost to that, right? Then you wonder why more and more of the young men are like, yeah, no cold approaches. Nope, nope, nope. Huh? No cold approaches. Shout out to black women in particular who are wondering why they're in the clubs and these black men are not talking to them. Go ask your moms and your aunts and your older sisters and siblings and cousins. Nuclear rejection? Young black men said, yeah, about that. I done heard stories or I might have seen it myself. Nope. Huh? And Pastor G says he cares because get carjacked via Sergeant Pete. And that's true. That's true.
I think Dr. Scott Galloway appreciates that this is not sustainable, and that's exactly what he was saying in this interview. In so many words, he was saying this is not sustainable. You can't, and even, as much as I disagree with Jason Black on this stuff, even Jason Black, when it was earlier this week or early last week, was saying the same thing, but he was being braggadocious about it. Of course, he was. That you can't have the women chasing after 5 and 10% of the men. This is not sustainable. Aren't the men doing the same thing? No. Ooh, goddamn. That was simple. That was easy. Huh? This is not sustainable. That's why you see Dr. Scott Galloway. He's kind of getting a little itchy. His spider senses are tingling. But this is not sustainable. It's not sustainable. This is why especially on the left, this is why you hear people say late stage capitalism and the cost of this particular system running its course. Late stage capitalism, the late part, emphasis on the late part. This is not 200 years ago. Now, do I think they're overemphasizing this? Yes. But let's go through that thought experiment. Funny, right? The systems have already been established. Now they're showing some entropy. What happens when everybody gets the message? How do the young men respond? How do the boys respond? How do the girls respond? How do the women respond? How do the young women respond? Huh? How does your society respond when essentially it's get rich or die trying? And that's particularly emphasized to the men. Somewhat to the women, if we're going to be fair to the women. Somewhat. How does your society respond to get rich or die trying? Now, do y'all see why Young Miami is okay with being the human toilet? Huh? Get rich or die trying. Now, do you see why there's D-boys on your corner? The young men that are scammers? Huh? When get rich or die trying becomes a mantra for a few generations now. And every generation you emphasize it more and more and more. How did you think the men were going to respond? How did you think the women were going to respond when it's get rich or die trying? When the gap between the well-to-do and the not just continues to expand. And because we have social media and the internet now, forget terrestrial TV, forget TV. Now we have access to how these people are living every day, all day. What do you think was going to happen? I said this before. What social media does is it brings that celebrity into your home. These young women are watching Cardi B. Huh? They're following her IG and when she go live. The same thing with either Nicki Minaj or Meg Thee Stallion or Kim Kardashian or one of the Jenner girls or whatever. They're watching it. So now that woman becomes their next door neighbor with the G-Wagon. Shout out to Jason Black. Huh? With the man that's splurging on her. This is where Young Miami comes in. L's active. Correction. And L's active says, for women, it's get upper class white women or die trying. Say that. Huh? Great comment. L's active says, for women, it's get upper class white women or die trying. Say that. And that's for working class white women. That's for Latinas across the board. That's for black women across the board. That's for Asian women. We already see that with them across the board. Huh? Huh? Shout out to JD Vance's wife. Ooh, goddamn. And Nikki Haley. Yikes. Shout out to Candace Owens. Oops. And Amala Ekpunobi. Yikes. Shout out to Mindy Kaling. Oops. Huh? Shout out to Tequila. Ooh, goddamn, Z. Stop it. Stop name dropping, Z. And Kim Clayton. Yikes. And Oprah. Oops. Huh? Stop name dropping, Z. Stop name dropping. Huh? Ah. Telescope says it. Oh yeah. Telescope says in the old days we just had Robin Leach lifestyles of rich and famous of the rich and famous. Exactly. Now it's every day. You go on IG right now, and you can see Cameron pulling up to his old hood in Harlem in the Ferrari. Huh? Ah, right. Chief Keef might be recording himself right now doing something rich. What's the brother out of, was it Detroit? T Grizzle? He might be doing something rich. Larry June might be doing something rich. Currency might be showing you his I don't know, couple dozen of cars that he didn't put $100,000 or $200,000 into, and the paint job alone was like $50,000. Shout out to Currency. Huh? Slim Thug might be doing something rich. We know Jay-Z doing something, forget rich, wealthy. But he's not recording himself, that part. Huh? And the ladies are watching. Huh? A couple years ago, I covered Chrissy, and I gotta go find it. When Chrissy was showing the she was actually responding to Z, funny enough, and she was showing the young white girl in her life-size dollhouse, and the mother was in the dollhouse also. And Chrissy lost it for a second, and she said, "F what y'all men are talking about. If the white girls get to do this and they get to have this, why can't we?" Exactly. If the Jenners get to live that life, why can't I? If Young Miami gets to live that life, why can't I? If Meg Thee Stallion gets to live that life, why can't I? If Nicki Minaj gets to live that life, why can't I? Huh? Exactly. And Nameless says, Nameless, you know I'm gonna go with this, right? Get ready because I'm gonna ask this question. And Nameless says, from fam, Asian women make more money than all other demographics in America besides Asian men. Z, yes, and they're trading that money for a lifestyle with a white man that earns less than them. Nameless, tell me I'm lying. Nameless, tell me I'm lying. Huh? They're buying the white men. Nameless, tell me I'm lying. I'm just saying. I want somebody to tell Z he lied. Oops. Right? That interracial marriage rate says 54%, mainly the white dudes. I'm just saying, you earning so much money and y'all marrying white dudes, some of which earn more than you. Let's be fair. Let's be fair. But it's not most like 80%. It might be most like 55%, maybe, possibly, kind of. Huh? Ah, right. So I really want to emphasize this. When Dr. Scott Galloway spoke of Porsche polygamy and how it's getting worse, and this is something that I think we should all be aware of and be weary of, because now we're reaching the market cap of hoarding, of the people at the top hoarding, the white men at the top mainly hoarding. We're reaching the market cap. How much are you going to hoard? Funny that the word hoard and, well, the other word sound really similar. How much are you going to hoard before your head and your shoulders on two different sides of a blade? Huh? Figuratively, maybe literally. Huh? That's true. That's true. The Indians, yeah, yeah. But they still want to date out too. Go ask the Indian dude. And some of them do, and then they still end up marrying the Indian god. But if you check their college history, ooh, goddamn. And Nameless is this one I have anecdotes about too, by the way. And Nameless says the Desi Indian camp is very insular. They're the ones that's earning 126 a year. Um, Actually, let me clarify, because for those of you that don't know, and Nameless, you could correct me, and other people that might know a little bit about more about Asia than I do, correct me. So much of that Asians earn more than everybody else number, it's true. It's true about the other Asian groups also, both East and South Asian. But it's mainly being held up by the Indian community. And if I'm not mistaken, the average Indian household income is like 126,000, which far outranks like everybody else. By far, it's like a big gap between them and like the next up, right? Second place, right? And that's mainly because of store ownership and really because of the tech industry. And also, quite as kept, there's a lot of Indians in banking too, or a disproportionate amount, maybe not a lot, but a disproportionate amount of Indians in banking, low key. Um, so yeah, so that part. And you're watching East Asians critique the East Asian community on why there's many of them in the tech industry also, but they don't occupy like CEO positions as much as South Asians. That's also a conversation that's going on in the East Asian community. So compared to the South Asians, mainly Indians, right? And let me read Nameless's comment. And Nameless says the Desi Indian camp is very insular and shockingly make up the majority of the fastest rising income. These stats don't separate Desi Indian from East Asian. True, 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 true. Right, right, yeah. Now, let me make sure. And Nameless continues by saying, Desi Indians come here already pre-packaged with an anti-blackness program, exactly, and riding in on India's financial initiative to follow China's tech progress. They have benefited from immigration programs, true, greatly, specifically from STEM, talking about the Indians, STEM, and small businesses, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier, yep. Exactly, and Big Mo says Indians go into STEM. For those of you that don't know, STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, right? Yeah. Yep, yep, yep. Right. Ah, it's not sustainable. This is not sustainable. This is why. And shout out to Nameless, who referenced me every once in a while. And like sometime early last year, Nameless made reference to me. Was like, this is what Z was talking about. Yeah, this is not sustainable, Nameless. This is not sustainable, bro. This is not sustainable. This is not. This is not at all sustainable whatsoever. This whole thing need to be revamped, right? Mr. Z is not anti-hierarchy. I think hierarchies are going to arise naturally. This is the Mr. Z is not an anarchist, because that's not sustainable either. But the way this pyramid is being, what's the one with the very very pointy end at the top? Was it I can't pronounce it, but the pyramid where it's like the two sides are super angular and it damn near looks right like it's just going straight up there. You can't scale the sides of that pyramid. Isosceles? Is it isosceles? Huh. Oblique. 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 Yeah. All right. Mr. Z trying to recall elementary school triangles. Right. Mr. Z, I don't think I've used these words in, I don't know, 30 years. Right? Obelisk. I said oblique. Obelisk. Obelisk. I saw Silesia. I remember that. Obelisk. Yeah. Ziggurat. Right? That when Mr. Z is thinking about the pyramid, that's what I'm thinking of. Does anybody disagree? Mr. Z is not saying it's impossible because we see it and we know of folks who rose up that. We understand, like, not everybody is cut out for it. Not everybody has the discipline. All of that withstanding, we know this. But even our own researchers are saying that the upward mobility in America is broken. Even Richard Reeve said the upward mobility in Britain is better than the one in the US. And the UK is literally a monarchy. I mean, literally a monarchy. Huh? So this is not about it being impossible. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. But if you sell upward mobility, if the American dream is part of American propaganda, then you gotta mean it. And you can't let upper middle class and above folks rig the game so much in their favor that you kill that dream, because that might not be the only thing being deleted out here. Goddamn, Z. Huh? Y'all see Mr. Z sounding a bit more fatalistic more and more? That's on purpose. Huh? Mr. Z isn't as pessimistic, but it is on purpose to shock whatever random person that might know a person that might know a person in power, to be like, hey, have we considered this? Huh? Oh, Passport OG says Washington Monument is an obelisk. Yeah. That looks like the pyramid I'm talking about. Right? Ah. Wow. I'm just reading through you guys' comments. My apologies, yo. I've covered this to show, and I'm like I said, I'm gonna put in the description box what I was also speaking about with the professor who was speaking about, essentially how Black women are being positioned, right, as these kind of colonizing agents. And I would argue the masses of Black women don't know that. I'll give them that. Now, ignorance of the law, right? And shout out to the Roger Report and his quote, right? You got to be held accountable for what you believe in. With that, the masses of Black women don't realize that, I would argue. And they're not necessarily in the position, especially of lower classes, to even be weaponized in that way per se. With that, I do think Olade appreciates that. The Kim Fosters appreciate that. The Drewsies appreciate that. The nappy-headed Hoba and T Noirs appreciate that. And you don't watch any of them say anything about it. You'll watch some of them get real close, like Drewsy or maybe Ole, but the Kim Fosters, oh no. And Mr. Z gets it because I know she look in the mirror, good goddamn Z. And that resentment is real. Huh? So they're perfectly okay with women like them in particular being weaponized against Black men. They're okay with it. As a matter of fact, they encourage it. When they don't appreciate, Mr. Z thinks they know, but they don't fully appreciate that if you're being used as a weapon, a rhetorical weapon, a colonizing agent, a tool of empire against the masses of Black men, and as a tool of counterinsurgency, that doesn't only hurt Black men, dumbass. That hurts the same Black women that you claim to care about. emphasis on claim to. Huh? Ain't no way. Oh, don't say that. And Jake says Howard University is 75% female now, Z. See, ain't no, I'm almost in lost words. Jake, I would have I would have lost that bet. I wouldn't have bet any more than maybe a two-thirds. I would have put all Mr. Z's chips on 33% men, 66% women. I would have put it there. At most, maybe, no, I would have put it there. I would have put it there. I wouldn't have ever guessed any, at least right now, that it would have been anything more than 70%. But really, I would have put all my chips on two-thirds of the population of Howard being women, not 75%, right? Ah, Saint Cyr says they love what they're doing. They don't care. This is why, and so we know Chrissy listens, right? And that's why Chrissy modified her pitch by saying, "This is not for all women. This is not for even all black women. This is for the women that this message resonates with." Yeah, you got to say that after Mr. Z starts streaming. You got to say that after Mr. Z starts streaming, because Mr. Z made sure to emphasize that you are the masses of black women's class enemy. Huh? Mr. Z made sure to emphasize Chrissy's position right now. She could end up, maybe, probably not, maybe one day we could turn around and Chrissy could be married to that upper class white dude. It's possible. Likeliness, but possible. And all of the black women that she filled up and gassed up with all of this anger, resentment, ire, and rage towards black men, what are they supposed to do? Are they going to find them an upper class white dude? Probably not. And what are they supposed to do? Live vicariously through you? Huh? Be out here single with their rose toy? Huh? Go munching on another woman like Princella? Goddamn, Z. What are they supposed to do, Chrissy? So of course you modify, and Mr. Z ain't go too far off the topic. Of course you modify your pitch now. Huh? Many of these countries, and by the way, I definitely agree with the left on this. The left is 100% right. These blonde, blue-eyed, conservative white women who are selling traditionalism to women now. Mr. Z think everybody is off their rocker, to be clear with you. But you know what they say, if you think everybody else is crazy, maybe you're the crazy one. Mr. Z will own it. Because that ain't going to work either. Unless all the women go home. Unless they all drop their jobs. We know it ain't going to happen. So that ain't going to work either. So this, just extra feminine your way into meeting the man who has the resources to put you in and make you a stay-at-home mom, that's not going to work unless all the women go home. So the conservatives don't got it either. And by the way, it's not lost on Z that it's mainly these blonde, blue-eyed white women with their conservative ass, racist, let's call it a thing, racist ass white husbands pushing this crap. Boy, y'all don't learn how to make money off of people's misery so bad. It's like, we're going to rig the system against you, and then we're going to sell you, rhetorically at least, the solution. That's why they call it the Hegelian dialectic. Problem, reaction, solution. So everybody's selling everyone, well, the elites or the well-to-do at least, right? Maybe not so much elite, but at least the well-to-do on above. They're all selling the antidote to the system that they advocated for that screws the masses of us. Oh, geez. Mr. Z said it's not sustainable. That's what I said. This is not sustainable. Huh? So some of you know politicians, or you know someone in the corporate sector that works for a Fortune 500 company, and y'all got their ear, and they advocate for you, and they do things that benefit you, right? And then when you're watching the masses of Americans have to go through it because y'all are hoarding everything, then your solution to them, to the minutes, become more alpha, Work 60 plus hours a week, Mr. Z. Work 60 plus hours a week. I don't suggest it. And to the women, it's become hyper feminine. Translation: become the white woman that you always wish you were. Meet a dude that's doing well enough and live off of him, and then divorce him in like 10 years and take half on the way out the door. How is this supposed to work? This is why Mr. Z says it's not sustainable. This is not sustainable. You need a whole. If we're supposed to be walking into the 21st century with advanced technology and automation nipping at our heels and software learning nipping at our heels, Boston Dynamics nipping at our heels, Elon Musk trying to goddamn Neuralink everybody, right? If this is what our future is supposed to look like, how in the hell are y'all selling this to everyone? How is this supposed to work? This is not sustainable. And when Mr. Z says this is not sustainable, appreciate what Mr. Z means by this. You're watching it now. What they said, 7 million American males are out of work and are not looking, essentially have thrown their hands up. We don't even know what they want. That's what Mr. Z is saying. That's what Mr. Z is saying. This is not sustainable. You can't maintain a society like this. And we're watching it now. But the cost of it, at least. But we're gonna watch the well-to-do and above. And Mr. Z gets it, right? The fear. This is what I was saying earlier about being risk averse. The fear of falling. The fear of falling, or the fear of your children falling as adults, is that the system is so rapacious for the quote-unquote loser that if they fall, there is no getting back up. They're just going to get stampeded. That's why the children are risk averse. So forget what y'all are telling them. What are y'all showing them? And when Mr. Z says kids, I actually also include young adults. Of course they're afraid. Of course they're risk averse. You told them get rich or die trying. They got the message. You told them then nobody wants losers. They got the message. I guess what we're finding here is that America's narratives are biting it in its ass now. The stories that you sell the young folks, the narratives, right? It's biting people in its ass now. It's biting Americans in their rear end. Did you mean it? I think and I'm gonna butcher it. Dr. Scott Galloway says this all the time. Like, if you're doing well in America, it's beautiful. It's a paradise. If you are doing well in America, you live in a paradise. If you're doing well, but if you're poor, it's cold. And the word he used, and Mr. Z adopted it because it's a great word, rapacious. Right? Thank you, Telescope. I got it from Dr. Richard Reeves, and when he used it, I was like, ooh, perfect, exactly. And Telescope says rapacious, excellent word choice, Z. It's beautiful. And it describes it perfectly. It's damn near Oliver Twist. If you poor and black, does that mean impossible? No. Nearly impossible? Yeah, more like that. Unless you're super talented, of course. Then you might make out like a bandit, right? as I said, this is not sustainable. And if these are the stories that we push to people to motivate them to bring in the best and brightest into America, the talented from other countries, if that's the story that you're selling, and yet the class divisions are solidifying, huh? Social dimorphism is calcifying, the wealth is calcifying at the top. Shout out to Tone Toxin and Yvette Carnell. And by the way, when they said that, they were not lying. When they said that, they weren't exaggerating. That's actually happening. Huh? I thought America was trying not to be like Europe. Ooh, goddamn. Huh? So when, dear white Americans, when y'all said y'all were trying to get away from the whole aristocracy that Europe had going on, did you mean it? Or were you just saying that? Because you wanted to create your own aristocracy. Ooh, goddamn. Please, sir, could I have some more? Please, sir, I want some more, right? I had the meme, and I don't know what I did with it. I'm gonna have to get it back. Shout out to you, better, right? Ah, yep, right. Detroit says Elon already has PayPal, which he's co-founder of PayPal, and it's a couple of them that's either part of Trump's administration or better yet, advisors. It's or somewhere they're hovering around, they're orbiting around Trump's administration. It's about four of them. It's Thiel, it's Peter Thiel, it's Elon, it's Sachs, and it's oh my God, his face is right there. It's another one. It's another one of them. I forgot his name though. Or Leary or oh, I forgot his name. Somebody go look it up. If somebody look up the PayPal mafia names, one of them is either or something or Leary or something like that, and he's another one. And they're all around Trump. Y'all see it in my community tab. Trump's inauguration had like over $1 trillion sitting there behind him. There's $1 trillion+ sitting behind him. That's more than the vast majority of countries on the planet GDP. It wasn't Jack Dorsey. It wasn't Jack Dorsey. Right. Oh man. Jack Dorsey wasn't part of PayPal Mafia, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Am I pronouncing that name right? I forgot the name anyway, so it don't really matter. All right. Let me read these super chats real quick. And Jay Will says, because Mr. Z been streaming for a little while. And Jay Will says, my brothers are 25. Mr. Z, get your words right. My brothers are 24 and 25 respectively. They're doing what I'm doing and paying the 40 until they get their passport. I have mine already. You can't have your best and brightest. Well, let's take that back because it's not your best and brightest. It might be the tier under that or maybe the tier under that one. You can't have stable, at least, men in your country. These are the salt of the earth men, white, black, Latino, maybe even some Asian. You can't have them continuously going overseas and maybe even staying overseas or going overseas to find spouses because the women of their class think they're beneath them. Translation, said, or better yet, said differently. The women that are in the same class as these men, the women who earn similar as these men, the women who are quote unquote similarly situated as these men have aspirations of being with the elite man. And so the men who are around them are, for all intents and purposes, invisible. That's not sustainable. You don't remedy that with telling those men, well, you rich, but you're not wealthy. What? You're upper middle class, but you're not rich. You're solidly middle class, but you're not upper middle class. Huh? I hear all of the folks, whether it's white or black, Jason Black, who think that's motivating. Yeah, for some, maybe. But for others, it might be defeating. Huh? And to say or to imply or to suggest that if you are not built to be on the hamster wheel chasing after every dollar until you die, that somehow makes you weak. Yes, I'm looking at you, Mr. Black. As a man, and you get what you get, well, you live on a planet with other people, and other people might have an answer for that idea. This is not sustainable. Y'all gonna have to throw all of that in the trash or deal with the consequences. Huh? This is what I'm saying. And Guy Incognito says you can't have young dudes build themselves up just to leave the community. You know, when black women say that, okay, let's get into that. And y'all know Mr. Z will entertain the argument. So probably shout out to Charles. Probably one of my biggest pluses and minuses is I'll entertain the argument. Right? I'll engage. I'll do it. Uh, Shout out to Charles Faulkner Jr. So, okay, fine, let's entertain it. When the ladies say that, when black women say that, all right, for argument's sake, you're right. And what are you doing to keep those young men there outside of just shaming them? What are we doing to keep our talented, hardworking, ladder climbing, aspirational black young men marrying black? So what are we doing in the black community to make sure that they marry a black woman, that they raise, air quotes, fully black children? What are we doing outside of just shaming them? Huh? I'll wait. Huh? How have we raised our daughters? Z, you're about to use that word to cater to them. Ooh, to incentivize them, to keep them around. Huh? Or do we just expect those men to be there and to do for community and to do for black women specifically just because? Thank you, Saint Cyr. What's the incentive? I'm gonna have to find it for y'all because I keep on saying I think it was on that same street. No, it might have been on the other one. It might have been on Decentramin Part 2, right? Fine, ladies, you're right. Right? As Guy Incognito said, you can't have young dudes build themselves up just to leave the community. You're right. Dear black women, okay, fine, you are right. For argument's sake, you are right. And what incentives do the men have, do the young men have to stay? Huh? Because if white society is dealing with and in the middle of and in the midst of this crap where the elite white dudes are taking everything, how bad is it in the black community? Ooh, Z, ooh, Z, ooh, ooh. Don't go there, Z. Huh? We're not talking about just who you had an oops baby with. We're talking about the ideal black man. You know, Jesus, goddamn. Also known as Tupac. Ooh, goddamn, Z. Except that Pac didn't have the height. He didn't have the height, right? Uh-oh. If the white guys are going through this, if if
Dr. Richard Reeves and Dr. Scott Galloway and Rod Shetty are all saying, and we have PhDs in this space who are saying the same thing, who will remain nameless. Mrs. Z ain't gonna mention them, not right now. If all of these guys are like, this is not sustainable, if that's existing outside of the black community, how bad is it in the black community? Huh? Where Jay Will and his two siblings, maybe in the next couple of years, are all going to have passports, and in a few years past that, are all going to have non-black spouses. And there should have been, would have been, could have been future black wives. What are they supposed to do? You see how this come back around? Logan, the lady on the interview, you guys, she said this, right? And I put money it was probably a white woman, but it could have been somebody of color. She said she was talking to a woman, and the woman was essentially, saying, yes, this is what, it's our turn to rule type talking. And yeah, the men get what they get. And she was talking about, how men are struggling. And yeah, it's our turn. And Logan was saying, as she started to explain to the woman what all of this cost, what it's going to look like, she said the other woman started thinking about this differently. Yeah, because nobody ever tells them what's on that receipt. For all of us who have ever stepped foot on a college campus, who took any humanities, social classes, where you watched your feminist ass teachers, whether they're male or female, describe all the greatness that women have achieved and talk about fairness and equality and all of that stuff. Yes, cool. And never tell women what's in the fine print. They never tell women what that costs, what that equality cost, and what it's going to mean for them, and how they're going to have to rethink a lot of dynamics they thought they not even thought they took for granted. No one tells them that. No one, and definitely not to black women. Mr. Z was saying in those classes, definitely not to black women. No one tells black women that. Not their mothers, not their aunts, not their friends, not their girl cousins. No one, not the professors. No one tells them that. Now, once again, shout out to the Rogers Report. You got to be held accountable for what you believe in. But to be fair to the women, black women, if it wasn't for the black manosphere, no one. No, if it wasn't for the black manosphere and they don't have an uncle or a dad telling them something, no one would tell them. No one. And even with us saying it to them for years now, look at the pushback. Huh? No one's telling the women that. By the way, we did turn the world upside down so you could achieve. Really, we turned the world upside down so we could use you as a colonizing agent, but we will leave that one on the table. Huh? Oh, man. All right. I'm reading through you guys' comments. My apologies. Hey, Saint Cyr says they're talking about the women who lost out on these brothers that are doing well, stable and above, essentially. And Saint Cyr says they're going to go stubbornly and loudly into the void with no way back to dock on the space station. Shout out to Single by Choices. Shout out to Single by Choices. Okay, so let's make sure we speak about why we emphasize the relationship between men and women, because that's at the foundation of all of it. At the foundation of family is the relationship between men and women. At the foundation of your community is the relationship between men and women. At the foundation of your society is the relationship between men and women. At the foundation of humanity is the relationship between men and women. We're not just complaining and he-man woman hatering our way through this on Mr. Z's channel, at least. I would argue throughout the most of the black manosphere.
It's not just a bunch of bitter, no triple X access having men in these spaces, just railing and ranting and raving. Mr. Z do a lot of ranting and railing and raving though. That's not what's going on here. I appreciate it. I know and I understand that they like to frame it like that concerning us, but we're saying something here. Shout out to Three Stacks. The South got something to say. Black men have something to say. The Black Minister has something to say. Oh, it's too coarse, it's too antagonistic, it's too mean, it's too dismissive. Huh? Oh, man. Right? So, yeah, Saint Cyr, blast it off to the void. No, that's not a good look. And KMS says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And KMS says, the top tier men ain't happy either. I know some. It sucks for them too. Who want to deal with high pressure sales 304s? I'm in the 1%. No, I gotta put Tabasco in my used condoms. Top tier men. See? If we really gonna say it, ooh, Z, don't do it, Z. Because look, Z, it was kumbaya before this. No, it wasn't. Stop it. Hey, white men, you got what you got. You wanted this, you got it. Dear white men, why aren't you singling out for elite white men? Because the white men that are not elite white men want to be elite white men so they can do the same thing. Oh goddamn! Very few of these guys are Dr. Scott Galloway. If we're gonna be fair, or the dude from Legions of Men, and even him, he be walking too close to the line, and he sounds like a bigot most of the time too. But very few of them are the ones that say, this is not sustainable, and even though I'm doing okay, this don't look good. I don't like the way this is. Most of these white guys that are complaining wish they were the elite white men and they would sell the same soap. Their real problem is that they're not in that position. Huh? The second they're in that position, they start selling the soap just like that. They start selling the hustle bros thing. Very few of these people are not selling the hustle bros thing, including the people that just left the wet race yesterday. Huh? And this is what I appreciate about you, Telescope. This is what I appreciate about a lot of you brothers, Black Rule and the like. And Telescope says, happily married for 21 years plus, but Telescope has eyes and is part of a family and community. We're not all incels. This is what I'm saying. This is why I'm not going to be Paris Milan. Y'all know Mr. Z is in a loving relationship. Y'all see Ms. Z pop up in the comments occasionally. Shout out to Trell or Leon to be like, hey, Z, you got to get off. You got to go handle your business with your lady. Shout out to Better You, same thing. Mr. Z is, I'm not pulling a Paris Milan, y'all. That was so, the reason why I bring it up so much, Mrs. Z about to drop some tears. The reason why I bring it up so much is she was so egregious with what she did. She's so, for those of you that don't know, her channel is defunct. She's not on YouTube like that anymore. I think she might pop in here and there occasionally, but then she deletes it back. Before Paris Milan got married, she was on her femicide kick. She's the one who helped to popularize the idea that black men were just wholesale deleting black women, chasing down black girls, right? Actually assaulting them. Yes, I'm mispronouncing the word on purpose. And then deleting them also. She helped to popularize that narrative. She helped to bring about black women being even more weary and scared of black men, especially those that are heavily online. And I think she still got the numbers over all of them. Paris Milan had the most subscribers out of all of them, over Chrissy, over Real Talk with Yanni, over Cynthia G, over all of them. She had like 300 and some odd, 350 some odd thousand subscribers, something like that. And then she turned around and got married and hid her marriage. She got married to a black man, a Nigerian brother, and hid her marriage. Huh? And kept selling the soap. Mr. Z's not gonna do that to y'all. Huh? So shout out to Telescope. Exactly. We have eyes. Mr. Z doubts he's ever going to be rich enough to remove himself. And even if I was, I would still be talking like this. Because I truly believe that this is not sustainable. If Mr. Z built one of those big ass scratch offs, and after everything is said and done, Mr. Z left with like $600 million, I do not want to live in a world where I have to build a goddamn bunker. Because if ish hits the fan, I have to get my family out of here. Because people who I just entered the same tax bracket with have so skewed the world to favor them that everybody else is practically starving. It's not, no, I don't want to live in that world. Huh? Who wants to, well, some people actually want to live in that world where it's not good enough for you to win. The other person got to lose and lose bad. So, like I said, shout out to you, Telescope. Yeah, Mr. Z has eyes too. This is not sustainable. And that whole, roundabout way I just went about saying that is I don't want to live in a world where for me to win, you have to lose. And on an individual one-to-one, that is actually how it works. But on a societal level, you trying to tell me, and this is what it is. I know a lot of people were, and shout out to Dr. Thunder. We spoke about this years ago. As a matter of fact, I did a live stream and Dr. Thunder was in my chat. When I said, what would you rather have in the black community? 10 more black billionaires or a couple million more black people that earn $70,000 and above? So now, because of inflation and everything and post-COVID, let's say $80,000, $85,000 and above. And most of my comments, almost all my comments, honestly, was like the 80,000 and above guys. Huh? It's not sustainable. What we live in is not, this is, black people been knowing. Black men in particular been knowing. Not arresting him is getting bitten in the ass, rightfully so. Huh? To be frank with you, and this is why I say it's going to be black men that drag America kicking and screaming to what it said it is on paper. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't trust anybody else to have the reins of power. Oh, God damn, Z, you said that a lot. I don't trust not a single other demographic other than us to have the reins of power. Not the white dudes, not the Latinos or Latinas, not the black women, definitely not anymore. Huh? Not white women. No one, I don't trust anyone else but us to have the reins of power. No one. Y'all all want to be white too much. Oh, goddamn, Z. All of y'all want to be white men too much. I don't trust you. I don't. Everybody else remedy for what America is going through is going to be some lightweight white version of what we're going through now. Somebody tells Z he lying. I don't trust the rest of you. I don't. Huh? That's why I continue to urge Black Uru to watch Gladiator 2. For all of us that watched Gladiator 2 and you saw that ending, that message was clear. And Mr. Z was like, all right, then find them. Let them have it. And burn it to the ground, because that's what they're going to do. Huh? That message was clear to Z. And just like, I got to agree with the brother FD on this. He did a review on it, and he saw the same thing I saw. He got the same exact message I got from it. Because Miss Z was like, all right. Mr. Z was huffing and puffing in that theater for that last 10 minutes of the, maybe not 10 minutes, that last like 5 minutes of the movie. Oh yeah, Mr. Z was huffing and puffing. I was in the theater. I'm not gonna say I was acting a fool. I'm exaggerating, but I was definitely huffing and puffing, right? Because I saw that message. I was like, oh, so that's what y'all saying. All right then. You know when somebody throws their hands up like, to hell with it then. That's what Mr. Z was on, because I knew exactly what they were saying. I'm not gonna ruin the movie for y'all. I'll give it another maybe month or so, and I'll finally review it. I really want Black Uber to watch it because I don't know if BGS watched it. I really want them to watch it because I really want to review it with them. And Leon says FD did a good review. To Mr. Z, it was pretty good. To Mr. Z, because he read the same thing I read. It's not just because he read the same thing I read that I'm saying it was a good review. The message, if you're a Black man, the message was clear. It was like neon lights clear, right? The message was neon lights clear at the end of the movie. And that's why Mr. Z was like, oh, okay, all right then. Right? For all of us that watched it. Right? And Inspired Truth says, and once again, thank you for the super chat, KMS. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. And Inspired Truth says on the replay. Okay, he's listening up. He's probably listening at 2 times speed. Right? Great movie. What I would say, make sure this. Pay attention to Denzel's character. When I say pay attention, you can't miss his character is pivotal to the movie. But remember what Rome is at that time, right? There's a message behind it. Pay attention to the background noise of the movie, right? There's a lot of subtext in that movie. It's saying something to us as Black men in particular. And I think the other reason why I want Black Uru in particular to watch it is, if I recall correctly, Black Uru said once upon a time, he would love to be part of like the accounting team for like a reparations movement for Black folks, for ADOS FBA folks. And he said just to present it to the US, just to tabulate and to present it. And if they were to reject it, then that would be the message to Black people on who you are in America. And Black people would probably move differently. And I agree with him that America can't afford that type of Black person, that type of AUS MBA person in particular. And that's why I want him to watch the movie, because unfortunately, I think we got our message. That's the hint I'll give y'all if y'all didn't watch the movie. I still need y'all to watch it so somebody could tell Z that he got that message wrong, or that he's exaggerating, or that he's being hyperbolic. So that's why I want everyone to watch the movie, right, who didn't watch it already. So somebody could tell Z, man, it's just a movie. Right? So yeah. Right. And once again, Inspired Truth, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. And Guy Incognito says, and thank you for the super chat. Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. We see how those who can, we see how those who won elections are making it worse. Let's cut let's cut these jobs all at once. Everything will be fine. They're trying to slim down the waste, right? But they're not trying to slim down the waste in a way that hurts the elite's profit margin. And so that means, and Elon said it, it's in my community tab, that necessarily means that there's going to be some pain. Elon said it when Trump was elected. In other words, not we going to have to tighten our belts. No, you're going to have to tighten your belt. Huh? This is a conversation I've had with coworkers. This is a conversation I've had with family members. Yes, you're gonna get your tax cut, and it's gonna be $2,000. You're gonna make an extra $2,000 this year, or 3, or maybe even 4 or 5, and they're gonna kill you on the back end with the services that you and your family and your relatives were relying on that are no longer there. How do you know, Z? Because he did it already. The tax cut that we got back in what 2018, 2017 or whatever, there was a sunset clause in that for all of us. That I think it was like less than 75,000 or whatever the number was. So that ended. But what he's doing now is trying to make the tax cut that he gave the elites and the corporations permanent. And there you go. So your tax cut will have a sunset on it. The elites won't, number one. Number two, average Americans are the one who rely on government the most. I am weary of these people that sell to you your agency and your ability back to yourself. Mr. Z is a man, a grown-ass man, a man. With that, whenever people start selling you, yeah, you could do it. Yeah, I know I could do it, but why are you saying I could do it? Uh-oh. Let's modify that statement. Not when people do it. When elites do it. When elites sell you back, when the well-to-do sell you back, you could do it, right? Essentially, what they're doing is you gonna play it, you gonna play it.
Hey, yo, hey, niggas get shot every day, B. You be aight, nigga. You tough, right?
And that's what Mr. Z hear all of these folks saying. That's how I interpret, once again, this is subjective. That's how I interpret all that motivational talk and inspirational talk. Yeah, Mr. Z, you know he could do it. Yeah, you okay, fine. Yeah, but why are you saying it though? Damn, Z, you that cynical? Yes. Huh? Right? So what Guy Incognito is saying here, there's going to be a cost to this. And I'm glad that I was able to find that New York Times piece and play it for y'all when they just told those government workers, and shout out to that lady who started tearing up. Why are you in this? I keep on saying this to a bunch of my coworkers. I was like, yo, they told a lady, why are you in this low production or low not productive or public sector job? You need to be in a high production or high productive private sector job. I said this to coworkers, friends, family members, but that right there said everything. They let the cat out of the bag with that one. Atlas shrugged, y'all. Right? Atlas shrugged. Huh? 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 Yep. And Giovanni says, like the grand majority of your elite scammed other white Americans out of their wealth, then told them it's colored people's fault. They're poor, and they believed it. But they've been believing it ever since Bacon's Rebellion. And let's be clear, y'all. White folks don't actually believe that. Your average white person doesn't actually believe that. They pretend like they believe it to justify the hierarchy. They know better. Your average white American, do some believe it? Yeah. But for the most part, they don't believe that crap. This is what allows for them to go to sleep at night with the pyramid scheme being in place. Everybody's playing in everybody's faces. They definitely playing in black people's faces, black men's faces. Huh? Everyone knows what it is. There's a cost to the dream hoarding. There's a cost to the wealth hoarding. There's a cost to that. There's a cost to the opportunity hoarding. There's a cost. And that means necessarily that there's going to be working class white folks, working poor white folks, maybe even lower middle class white folks that got to bear the cost for elite white folks to be elite white folks. Everybody's okay with the cost being held in the black community, namely by black men. Everybody's okay with that, enthusiastically so. Huh? It's when you tell them, oh, by the way, poor and working class Latinos going to have to bear that cost too. Huh? definitely some working class Latinos, and everybody be okay with that too. Everybody will be okay with some of the even the East Asians having to bear that cost. That's fresh off the boat that don't have no connections. Everybody might be okay with that. Yeah, we okay with that. We okay with that. Huh? We'll paper over the poor Asian with the elite Asian and be like, oh, look, more the minority myth. Huh? When some of the worst wealth disparity in the Asian American community, oh, excuse me, some of the worst wealth disparity in America is within the Asian American community. Because as Nameless said, they don't differentiate on paper. You gotta look for different separate studies because they don't differentiate between, the Hmong and the freaking Indians. It's all Asian to them. Huh? So yeah, once again, this is not sustainable, right? So everybody's playing in everyone's faces. They're okay with these other quote unquote marginalized groups eating the cost, but it's biting into white society more and more, further and further up. Now what? Huh? Dr. Scott Galloway, Dr. Richard Reeves, they're all ringing the alarm. I'm not even mentioning our black scholars. The lady that I have in my community tab, the PhD sister, once again, I'm going to put the link in the description box after this stream. She's ringing the alarm for black women. Hey, are you sure we're not being used as a colonizing agent? As a tool of empire to say, look. We're fair and free, and when you negotiate with us, we ain't gonna screw you over. Look, we got black women are successful in America now. Black women of all people, look, black women of all people are marrying white men. We have elite white men marrying poor black women now, right? Uh, so outside of those handful of people that's doing that, everybody else is just enjoying their position further up in the hierarchy, understandable, and praying to God that this don't crash. I hear you. I hear you. Right? And Giovanni, once again, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Right? But like I said, this is not sustainable. We all know it. We all know it. And shout out to the Black Manosphere for having spaces like this, right? Commiserating with each other, trading information with each other, informing each other. Huh? Educating each other. Whether that's if you a panelist and you come up on the panel, whether you're a content creator yourself, whether you're in the chat, because we're all contributors. Huh? And we find like minds and we inform each other and we try to make sure that we don't catch ourselves on the wrong side of history. Huh? I gotta read this one now. And KMS is fringe head basket machine tax. Y'all realize like there's levels to this, right? KMS is doing well, Black Uru is doing well. Like we got people in this space doing well. And even they're like, yeah, this ain't sustainable. Number one. Number two, yeah, they're doing well, but are they these elites that I'm talking about? Absolutely not. We talking about like it. There was a stream I did forever ago, right? And it was on Jay-Z, and I was like, these people aren't actually capitalists because they don't own the means of production, right? They're like propagandists of empire. And shout out to this PhD sister who said what Mr. Z just pretty much said. But right, and they're just, and it wasn't just directed. It was mainly about Jay-Z, so it wasn't about black women per se. And these folks that we're speaking about are showing their hand. And that's super dangerous. This is why I appreciate Sarge Willie Pete. Me and Sarge Willie Pete have been lockstep on this for a while. And I'm glad that I'm on my side doing my thing, pushing this, and he's on his side doing his thing, pushing this too. And both of us are saying this is not sustainable, number one. But number two, not only is it not sustainable, how do you think you're going to incentivize folks to get up in the morning? Like, if you want to know where the apathy is coming from, particularly concerning young men, is that young men are being told either you're elite or you're a loser. And that elite at the top of the pyramid seems so arduous and is becoming more difficult. Right? And there's no rest haven. There's no, okay, let me get here. Let me catch my breath. All right, before we start going again. We pretty much told them, keep on running up that side of the mountain, the side of the pyramid, until you run out of breath or until you get to the top. We're not talking about older millennials right now. We're not talking about Xers right now. We're not talking about boomers right now. We're talking about younger millennials and Gen Z. How is this supposed to work for them? And how is it supposed to work for a society where you need middle management? You need middle class. You need a middle. Huh? That's how you get the French head French head basket tax. That's how you get that. That's how that happened. Trying to let them eat cake. All right. Be careful what you wish for. Right? Be careful what you wish for. Dr. Dunbar, what's going on? He says, the women want more and more. Huh? The women want more and more, and your society wants more and more. Right? Mrs. Z might have said that. Yeah, the society does want more and more. But the elites demand more and more. And the threat is, well, we can automate this whole thing. I'm not going to tell you what the average man's threat back to you is. I'm not, Mr. Z ain't going to incriminate himself like that. But it's not smart. Everybody got to stop throwing these threats out there, y'all. It's not smart, but somebody going to call your bluff and make you press that button. Or some people are going to call your bluff and make you press that button. Huh? The elite's threat is, we'll just automate this whole thing. Okay. All right. Huh? Let me read this one now because this is funny as a response. So let me put this here. And KMS says French head basket machine tax, and then Leon says KMS, let me get $3 so that I can have $5 on it. Oh man, it's funny because y'all both in Texas. He can really like drive by and give you that's $3, right? Texas is a big ass state, so we don't even know how far y'all are from each other. But yeah, that's funny. Right. KMS, Leon asking you for $3. I'm thinking about Leon being at your car window at a light. Hey man, you got $3? Oh man. And Dr. Dunbar says, more vacations, more fine dining, more pets. Well, this is what I do appreciate about the conservatives, although I don't think they really mean it. And Crystal has been speaking to this crystal ball, Kyle Kalinski's wife, part of Breaking Points used to be on the Hill. Used to be on Rising, that's on the Hill. We were told as millennials, and definitely you Xers too, to find your humanity through things and products. The men in particular were told, you find your humanity through your wallet and through what you can signal to women about your position in society through the status baubles, the badge of your car, the zip code you live in, the neighborhood that you live in your city, the career field you're in, all of these status signals. And it's been a thing in human society forever. We just overemphasized it again, right? And so we're here, right? So the fine dining and all that other stuff that the women are demanding from the guy that doesn't get their giny wet instantly, right? There's a cost to that. The women want to signal that they're of status too. And the way they signal to, and this is why I had such a disagreement with Anna Kasparian, when she was like the flex is when you buy your own things. No, it's not. As a woman, no, it's not. The flex is what you got a man to buy you. The flex, I said it before, let me say it again. What luxury brand I want to use? YSL, okay, cool. Yves Saint Laurent, you guys. The flex isn't what $2,000 bag from YSL you got yourself. What $5,000 bag from YSL you got yourself. The flex is that your man or a man bought it for you. That's how women signal to other women their status. Huh? Ah. Number one. Number two. The women wanting fine dining and all this other stuff isn't the end of the world. That's not the end of the world. The energy at which they're going about it, what they're not willing to trade for it. Ooh, goddamn. Huh? The emphasis on it is the problem. The fine dining isn't the problem. How often they want the fine dining, how they want to exhibit this status is the problem. We're human beings. They, as a matter of fact, not even just human beings. Apparently, the monkeys and the apes and the gorillas are on the same thing, right? How are you showing this? Right? Thank you. And Dr. Dunbar says, a capitalistic hellscape. It's bad. It's bad. Let me read this one now. And Better You says, y'all gives you a second. I think I might. Oh, there we go. Okay. I thought I was in a dead zone. And Better You says, let them eat cake. Now sugar-free with less calories. Hey, the masses of men don't got it like that. So you're right about that, Better You. The masses of men don't got it like that. So it will be sugar-free cake with less calories. Number one. Number two, I did not miss the Marie Antoinette part of it. All that means is that the blade might be a little dull. We might have to lift the blade up maybe 2 or 3 times before those two body parts are separated from each other. That's all. We don't got the money to sharpen it. More pain for you. That's all that means. Who goddamn? Huh? That means you won't be put out of your misery quickly. That means you're going to have to hurt a little bit for a couple minutes. That's a lot of pain, y'all. Ooh, that's pain. It won't be swift. Huh? Jeez. That hurt. Right? And Guy Cognito says, the real flex was if these other hoes, I'm making you a wife and mother, but women now call that slavery. That is true until the women gave up on the marriage because they wanted their freedom. So now the freedom is, and shout out to FD Signifier because he said it, and I don't think he really appreciated what he was saying there. The women want security and autonomy, and they want it simultaneously. And the best way for you to get that, and this is why Sarge really keep on emphasizing the problem with future, is to end up with a future. Because you could use the child support to support yourself as a grown-ass woman. And to stunt with the $200,000 or $250,000 a year deal you got with him. The $300,000 deal you have with Future as baby mama number 5, and the fact that he's not going to be at the home, you know, so you get to do what you want to do, how you want to do it, and you're being funded by this platinum multi-millionaire world famous rapper. So yeah, this is the ideal setup in a feminist capitalist society. I told y'all ADOS Americans are the most American Americans in America. Mr. Z could have said it a different way, but it just sounds cooler the way I said it. Goddamn Z. Huh? If you live in a capitalist and feminist society, then guess what? Future's doing the right thing. You get these girls preggo, they have your child, you have the money to pretty much give them the contract. Hey, you had my kid here. Oh, here we go. Stay out of my hair. Stop bothering me. Don't bother me. And here you go. $250 a year, $300 a year. Cam says her ideal future is future, which is no future. Right? Uh-oh. Walter King says Gen Xers were forced into individualism versus collaboration. There you go. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Cam said I missed his other super chat. Wait a minute. Which one? Oh, there you go. And Cam says power ? I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy that is powerful. Oh, y'all gives you a second. Wait a minute. Y'all gotta give you a second. Regular streams, y'all already know. Y'all gives you a second. Oh yeah, y'all still gotta give you a second. Wait a minute. This might take a minute. Okay, we're back for a little while at least. And Cam says power ? I know a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy that is powerful. I drive the same proverbial roads as everyone else. I know how janky this is. Hey, it's pretty bad. This is an unpaved road too, with a lot of rocks and boulders and potholes. Right? Oh man. So I just want to emphasize this. I'm going to do more than likely. Let's see how Mrs. Z thinks and feels about this. I want to do a standalone stream about the interview that the professor did, or lecture. Let's say lecture, even though she wasn't in front of anyone. That the professor did about her work concerning essentially Black women being positioned to be counterinsurgents, right? And as I was saying before, I don't think the mass of them appreciate that, but you still got to be held accountable for what you believe in. I think they know that they can call the boys in blue to regulate you, right? Ryman. I think they appreciate that, but they don't expand that out to think about what that actually means fully. Number one. Number two, but then you do have the ones that do understand. And I would argue Kim Foster and her ilk do understand. And her class of Black women, they do get it. They do get it. They're just hoping that the rest of us don't get it, including other Black women, to be fair to you. Right? They're just hoping that other folks don't get it. Right? Oh boy. Right? So Camus, thank you for that super chat. Thank you for that super chat. And I read that from Leon. I read that. Yeah. Oh man. I'm just reading you guys' comments. My apologies. Exactly. Guy Cognito, that's what I said. And the Guy Cognito says, no relationship has autonomy. Dudes in relationships, am I lying? Kids also require sacrifice. Look, so when and it's somewhere in my community tab if y'all don't want to search for it. But yeah, so when I spoke to FD the first time, this is the first conversation we had, and he said that to me, and he was like, they just want autonomy and security. And I said, "Oh, you can't have both." I said, "You know what men are doing when they say that? We're laughing." I said, "No, we're going." He was like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because you can't have both." And I said, "FD, tell me I'm lying, right? You can't. We all look. We get it. Men get it. Black men definitely understand this. Autonomy and security at the same time. This is why so many everyday black women will sign up for a future contract or the closest thing they could get to one. If the local D-boy, there's a pun in there, if the local D-boy will slide them 75, $100,000 a year to just chill out on the child support thing, because they can't get child support from him anyway, especially if he's in the streets. Don't snitch. Here goes 75, here go $100,000 a year. They'll sign up for that all day, every day, and they'll know he has other chicks and other kids with other women. For exactly what you just said, for the autonomy part of it all. They're getting the financial security from him, and they're getting the autonomy. In a marriage, you don't get the autonomy, not like that. It's not a you decision, it's a y'all decision. And if you're a woman in particular, but even your wife could maybe make you think about things differently. But if you're a woman, your husband, if we go off of Bible principles, override all of that. So the future principle is the principle. Women need to stop acting like they don't like the future principle. Uh, I'm glad FD said it when he said it. They want autonomy and security simultaneously. How's that supposed to work? Oh, good point. And Ross says the white man also affords them autonomy. You mean the system with the welfare and all that other stuff? Good point. Good point. Right. Good point. Yeah. Exactly. And Saint says if you have autonomy, you are your own security. You're not signing me up for a send off mission. Huh? This is why Mr. Z says you fund it, she run it. Huh? Patriarchy by feminist specifications. Negative liberty. Huh? Oh, I read that the wrong way too. And Ross says the liberal white man also affords them autonomy. True. I said just the white man. Right? Because I think conservative white men, they move differently. They'll take that money away from her, send her back to black men. But here's the kicker: they'll strip black men of as much money as they can. Also, that's the other side of this, right? That's the other side of this. That's why I don't trust either one of them. The liberal white man will fund her quote unquote autonomy through systems, through programs, right? Through set asides. The conservative white man will cut all of that, send her back to the house, and then say, oh, yeah, by the way, let's make sure that man don't have that much money. We ain't trying to have him compete. Or we're not trying to have his son and his daughter compete against my son and my daughter in the future. Huh? Oh yeah, one of these days we need to talk about Jasmine Crockett. What has she accomplished other than a few goddamn clips and going on shows? What are the tangible results of her office of her time in office? I I think she's just used as a Marjorie Taylor Greene foil, right? I think, especially if I heard correctly, she went to a private school growing up, and she has, you know, slightly different experiences. She was the cousin coming from the burbs, right? Um, Nothing wrong with that. Cool. That's not even where Mr. Z is going with that. What I'm using that for, and why I mentioned that, is to say she's smarter than that. So she's using her position, and she's adding on the sass probably to be a foil to Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's her position. Her position is to be a foil to, I would argue, her position is to be a foil to Marjorie Taylor Greene. And she may not need to produce anything tangible for the Democrats. Now, for black people, that's a different conversation. For Texans, that might be a different conversation. For black Texans, right? Huh. Leon says she's the black algorithm queen. Oh man, right? So maybe that's her whole position, and they're gonna clear the path, and she's gonna clear the path for AOC. To be fair with you, I don't see AOC. Let's see. I don't have the. I think because a bunch of people think she's cute. I don't see it, y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. AOC comes off annoying to Z. To be fair with you, y'all, I can't rock with her like that. I ain't gonna lie to you. Huh? She come off as the whitewashed Latina that many of us have like met before. I don't rock with her. There's something about her. I just yeah. But that's personal. That right there is personal. I don't know if she remind me of somebody I met before or whatever, but something about her just it's not something. There's something there. I don't know. We'll wait. Y'all know Mrs. Z good for it. If and when something exposes itself, I'll be like, I knew something was there. I just didn't know what it was, but something ain't right. Right? She literally tried to though. I mean, she literally is. I mean, at least that's what she thinks she's doing. Maybe, possibly. And Saint Cyr says, but Z, AOC is doing the work. She's colonizing the white man back. Okay, yeah, that's it. All right. Oh man. Destro says she's too mousy looking to me. Hysterical. Right. I will say, out of all the female Congress members, she might be one of the better looking ones. But that bar is in hell, so right. That bar is in hell, so yeah. Right. But yeah, no. Back to um Jasmine Crockett. I'll pipe. But yeah, no. I think that's what she is. She's the foil to Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? And she might be the next up to be ushered into what's her name's well, how we see what's her name slipping me right now? Maxine Waters. Jesus Christ. Well, I almost lost it. Right? So yeah, I get it. I would argue that's maybe down, at least for now. That's I don't see anybody who's going to replace Maxine Waters anytime soon. It got to be her, unless there's another sister in Congress that is lesser known that eventually is going to pop up, or that's going to be more of a household name. Better yet, Minion. I ain't even going to read that one out loud. I don't know, buddy. I haven't done any research or looked anything up to see what he does for a living or who he knows or whatever, or his family name or connection. Right? But yeah, but you know, for women of color, all he got to do is be white. So, for women of color, all he got to do is be white, and they going. If he, especially if they're upper class woman, or if they have aspirations, let's be a bit more fair. All he got to do is be white and not be a bum, or at least if he was a bum, they could clean him up. Huh? They'll even rock with racists, ain't that right? Ooh, goddamn, Z, don't do it. Miss Vance, ooh, Jesus Christ, ooh, 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 and all the women, those women who's married to the Proud Boy dudes, Black, Asian, and Latinas. Huh? Oh, we already know this. And Red Nose races. AOC is the Latina Kamala. She not gonna do anything for black people. No, yeah, yeah. No, yeah, yeah. Well, we already saw that with how they speak, like what the Democrats to me are what they might want to take from this is we're not doing identity politics anymore. Okay, cool. I'm telling y'all, they're gonna take it all the way to the other side. They can't do balance, apparently. They use the word nuance, but they don't believe in it. So what they're gonna do is strip down and do no more of these quote unquote special interest groups talk and minority talk. And they're gonna do things that disproportionately affects this group better and that group better. No, stop. They're going to use this as an excuse to further ignore quote unquote marginalized groups, black people, black men, right? Guy Incognito, don't tell me that. That's what he was doing the whole time? Guy Incognito, do not tell me that's what he was doing the whole time. Don't tell me that's what that dude was doing the whole time, bro. Huh? Man, I'm not highlighting you for a reason, but yeah. If that's true, then that says something about a lot of black women and what type of white dudes they're pulling. As much as these black women say, I'm not doing struggle love, I'm not doing struggle love and struggle love. Bro, y'all stay in these quote unquote struggle love situations when it's the white dude. Huh? Oh, Stefco pretty much told you it was nothing but bummy ass white dudes that gave her a shot. So I'm not saying this guy was a bummy ass white dude. We don't know what his background is. We don't know if he was maybe he had startup capital and he, in entrepreneur venture or whatever. Possible, right? And just because that was what he was invested in or doing, he could have been the owner or whatever. Okay, cool. Or one of the founding members or whatever. Cool. With that, oh, if you was just an overglorified employee, goddamn. Yeah. Jeez. Dr. D says, you're right, Z. The system rewards the bad guy, the bad boy, while asking you to be the quote unquote bigger man. Yeah, cool, whatever. Look, we ain't doing that last good guys finish last, nice guys finish last crap. Nope. It uh, Women do not, they do appreciate it. Let's stop. They don't appreciate how insulting it is. How absolutely insulting it is to tell men that when I'm right and tight and enthusiastic, and the vagina's elastic, anyway, and enthusiastic, I'm gonna be over here with Chiselchin, Chad, and Tyrone, and Ahmed, and Lee, and Juan, and them. And I'm going to stay there as long as I can. Right? But when my time expires and they kick me out the club, and they got to drag me out the club, kicking and screaming and clawing and trying to hold on to the pillars so that they don't pull me out the goddamn club. When I get kicked out the club, right? Jazzy Jeff style. Then, after I get kicked out the club, Jazzy Jeff style, maybe with children, maybe without, then this will be a perfect time for us to think about being in a relationship. And I'm looking to get married and settle down, and have a family and have some children. Huh? And women say that. Here's the kicker: there's salt in that wound too. Not only was she out here when she was right and tight and everything was great, and she wasn't trying to give you no type of chance. Here's the kicker: those guys are still the ideal even when she's with you, and it gets this is the icing on the cake of the insult. She still files for divorce on your ass within 5 years if you're black, and within 10 to 12 years if you're not black. At 80%, 70 to 80%, she still filed for divorce on your ass. It would have been one thing if, okay, fine, you got some dude sloppy seconds, but at least she stayed, and at least she plays enthusiastic, and it don't really mean anything to you because she's given an Oscar award-winning performance as a wife. Okay, cool. She's raising your kids right. Okay, cool. Y'all under the same house. Okay, cool. You get the last word in most situations. Okay, cool. All right, cool. I ain't her first choice, but she over here and she's smiling and she raising my kids right. And I don't gotta worry about being divorced great. That would be one thing. Oh no. The lady said, nope, I can't let you have that. Not only am I over here reluctantly, I'm gonna file for divorce on your ass once this kid can walk. Hey man, I keep on saying this is not sustainable. This whole thing needs to go in the shredder and revamp. It's not sustainable. This is not sustainable. And I don't care how yitchy it sounds. Yeah, you're gonna have to re-socialize. You're gonna have to socialize the women different. You're gonna have to socialize the women different. Z, capitalism's the best system that we have. Are you sure about that? It might have ran its course. Because this version of neoliberal capitalism that we pretty much came to the into, whatever's coming after this, if it's not better, oh, we can kiss this whole project goodbye. Huh? This is not sustainable. So look, Mr. Z ain't trying to keep y'all too long. Mr. Z been recording for way too long, actually. And Leon says Mississippi has eliminated income tax. Well, right. So on that note, y'all, look, let Mr. Z end out. I want y'all to watch that interview, if y'all don't mind, with Dr. Scott Galloway and Logan, the young lady. Let me make sure I said her name right. Let me make sure. Because I want to make sure. Oh, it's right. It's right. Her name is Logan. Yeah. So y'all go ahead and read that. I mean, watch that. Better yet. Um, number one. Number two, I should be coming to y'all tomorrow, if not Wednesday, with the stream covering that. But that's good. That I really have. I'm gonna have to sit down and go through that. The stream with the PhD sister covering Black women being positioned as counterinsurgents, right? And did now that's a problem. Like, when you say something or you theorize about something and you're almost certain you're right, and then somebody else comes along that has the information and they're like, yeah, I see the same thing, I think you're right. And then they start to prove it, you're like, oh god damn, I didn't know if I wanted to be right though. Huh? Ah, I don't know if I wanted to be right though. Ooh. Right? So listening to that lady cover it, especially a few years after I spoke of how Goldman Sachs is positioning Black women with that $10 billion. And you recall, Black Uru also gave his take on it, which was sobering also, which is how many Black women would ride out for Goldman Sachs, and how, excuse me, Goldman Sachs would be able to trot out these women whenever they get caught up with financial crimes. So you have that on top of using them to hide behind whenever they, once again, they get caught. I would argue, and I think this is what the sister was presenting. I would argue that America as a nation is doing the same thing, right? Huh. And better use this. Hey Z, did you have a chance to? I think you said watch the video I sent you, Taz, into a lot of this. Give me a second. As a matter of fact, because I be getting so much stuff that I be forgetting who sends what, how, and if I watched it or not. So give me a second. Let me. Yeah. Give me a second. Give me a second. I didn't watch it yet. Better you. My apologies, but I am subscribed to him. I have watched a bunch of his stuff, so I'll watch this once I get a chance. You're right. Yeah, but I have watched it. But he's making his rounds right now. He's getting big because he's actually one of the few to be like, we got to raise taxes. We got to create a better social safety net. Right. The wealthy will take all the wealth. Right. So I might cover that also differently. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I might be able to tie that to the other stream that I'm trying to do. Let's see. But yeah, what I appreciate about him is he's debating people, and you can tell he's agitated because it's the same thing with Bregman. Is that his name? Out of Norway, the one that flamed Tucker Carlson, and Tucker Carlson started cursing him out. What is his first name? Something Bregman. Something. Oh my. What is his name? I think he's Norwegian. I forgot his name. But anyway, yeah, that's the same thing he say, taxes. And I think he went to, was it the G? It was a G20. He went to the Bregman guy I'm talking about. He went to, was it working World Economic Forum? It might not have been working. It was one of those like big forums, big thing with the elites meet up, and he pretty much said, "Yeah, we gotta raise taxes. I don't care what you're talking about. We gotta raise." Yeah, Gary. Yeah, Gary's the one that better you sent me. But Rutger, yeah, Rutger. Thank you, Dominic. Yeah, Rutger Bregman. Yeah. Yep. He's saying the same thing that Gary's saying, right? Goddamn Z, you know all these little things. Look, I told y'all, Mr. Z, a YouTube junkie. Oh man, and contrary to popular belief, Mr. Z doesn't spend all his time just watching incendiary stuff about Black women's misbehavior, right? Not Boule, what's going on, Mike? Right? So Mr. Z is listening to lectures, interviews, right? TED Talks, all the stuff. People reviewing their own book, right? So yeah. And Guy Cognitus says again, well no, the wrong one. Again, we need a form of socialism. Mike says, I'm first gen 2, send the link. No, I actually gotta end out, Mike. I actually gotta end out. Right. Not all my streams are paddle streams. L says, Mr. Z must be watching all of this at 4 times speed. It depends on how fast this person speaks. Anywhere between 1.5 to now. I don't know how if y'all have it available. I do as a content creator, and as a person that just watches way too much YouTube. So they let people like me beta test a bunch of this stuff. Right now, I'm getting into listening to things at 2.25 speed, and if the person's speaking slow enough, 2.5 times speed. I could go up to 4 times speed, but that's way too fast. Is it 4 times or is it 3 times? I'm gonna tell you right now. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay, yeah. 4 times speed is the max. Yeah, so right now it's 1.5 times speed to 2.5 times speed. Now, if I think I'm gonna miss something critical or important, or if I catch myself rewinding too many times, then yeah, I'll bring it all the way down to 1.25, or even just leave it at normal speed. But I can listen to things at 2.5 speed for the most part now. Right. Yeah, so yeah, see, better use his L's active. The premium lets you do 4 times speed now. It's crazy fast. Yeah, I can't do it. So I can't do it now. Let's see if that's the case in a few months, right? Because I do find myself 2 times speed now. I'm catching everything or just about everything, and it's actually becoming sometimes somewhat normal for me. So let's see if I could, if I'm gonna eventually maybe start playing with 3 times speed a little bit more. Pause. But 4 times speed still it's a little too crazy. And I don't know if you could catch the message and retain it at 4 times speed. Right? That's the thing. If you're gonna catch the words, and it's important to see how somebody delivers things sometimes, right? It's not just the words, the delivery and how they hold on to a word, right? Or a facial expression, because that's another thing too. Oftentimes, Mr. Z is listening to these things as he's going through his day, right? Regular streams, don't put it in the comments. So if I'm listening to these things and my phone is tucked away in my pocket and I'm listening to it, I'm missing certain cues, the facial expressions, the response from the other person by their facial expressions, right? So I'm missing those things. So, and that's visual. If I'm listening to something 4 times speed and I can't see the hand movements and the facial expressions and the gestures, you're missing the context like a mug, right? So yeah. So that part. KMS is 4 times speed. I'm on it. Look, yeah. Premium has 4 times. I can't do it. I tried. I pressed the button on purpose once, and I was like, let's see. I was like, oh no, it's too much. For now, at least, it's too much. It's too much, right? Just saying. All right, y'all. Let's end out. Y'all gonna have Z out here forever. Okay. I definitely want to cover this. Um, my title about the apathy. Once again, we sold Get Rich or Die Trying. And like the masses of these guys are not going to be rich, white, black, Latino, Asian, or otherwise. They're just not going to be rich. They're not even going to be upper middle class. So the apathy is there because, and I agree with Dr. Richard Reeves on this one. People have to have a sense of self and be great at something and be lauded for something outside of just being rich. men in particular. And you know where a lot of men get that? In video games. If you want to know what the video game addiction is about, right? Mr. Z done got those compliments before on Forza. I broke super late on a corner and still made the corner, and I got that man. Goddamn, hey, Z, I thought you was gonna miss that corner, and you hit the apex. I thought you were gonna fly off. That's a compliment. Mr. Z has got, whether I beat the other person, because you're on the track with like 10, 15, maybe 20 plus other people, and you'll find yourself battling with another person for third place or second place or first place, right? And whether that person gets me or I get them, but it's even more impressive because they're not salty. If I beat them by a bumper and they message you, hey, great race. If you want to know because people are actually getting, the men are getting those compliments. In real life, that's a different conversation. Huh? So, hey, say that, Giovanni. We will end on that message right there. And Giovanni says, your elites don't care about you. That part. Huh? So on that note, y'all, let's pause right here. I don't know if Dr. Thunder is still streaming. Y'all go check him out. So let's do this. Love, peace, and chicken grease. We'll pause right here. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. Is today the last day of the month? I think today is the last day of the month, or is it tomorrow? Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. If today's the last day of the month, y'all enjoy the last day of March. We're already 3 months into, well, actually, we're about to be 4 months in. Into 2025, y'all. Time is flying. Christmas felt like yesterday. New Year's felt like 5 minutes ago. Right? So y'all enjoy the rest of y'all day. Go touch some grass for those of you who are off today. Right? And Z got things to do. Y'all already know reckless stream. So yeah, Z got things to do. So we will pause right here. Like I said, love, piece of chicken grease. So go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. Look better you. I'm actually ending out the first time around with saying it. Or is it? It might be the second or third time. But hey, y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, non-Manosphere content. I think Dr. Thunder might be still streaming. The Roger Report should be streaming right now, so y'all check them out. And y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out.